Hello everybody, Brook and Sergi from Stickmen Media. I'll be joined shortly by Margaret. As usual, a little bit disorganised today, so the movie we're playing in the background is not quite ready. So I guess we'll get Sergi to tell us what we're going to be watching today.
Okay.
And speak loud, you're actually very soft on video.
Yes,
so.
yes, I know. Basically, it's the texture process of the crossbow. So we will see basically how I texture it in Substance Painter, mostly.
Okay.
But we will see Photoshop as well for the UV and masks and things like that. But mostly it's Painter.
Okay. So, okay, now I've lost Maggle as well. Can you have a look on my desktop and see if that thing's finished processing, if it's still sitting there saying 100% or is it finished? Okay. Alright, so God knows how long this takes. I think last time it took about 20 minutes, but this started about 10 minutes before we started, so hopefully 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know why this happens. It's Adobe Premiere, but essentially it runs, it tells you how long it's going to take, and that time window, just keeps getting less and less. After initially getting more and more, that's the first thing it does. And then it gets to 100%, and at 100%, it just hangs and hangs and hangs until, until it's ready. So, which leaves us in the uncomfortable position of having to talk about something that we can't see. Do we have, probably the first thing to pull up is while we are in this mode, is to pull up, where's Dropbox? What I'll try to do is pull up the image, the concept art for this. Here we go. Lincoln. So we'll pull up the concept art for the steampunk crossbow. So this is what Sergi's actually been working on.
Good thinking.
So
no one's getting vaccinated today. Now would have been a good time.
yeah, that would have been entertaining for a while. Okay, so this is the crossbow. So what are the challenges in this, Sergi?
Well, for me, the biggest one was the drum. I had to repeat it like 2 or 3 different times, not because of the complexity of the drum itself, but just because of the different kind of materials and slightly difference with the top part of the crossbow and the other metallic parts as well. So yes, for me, maybe that was not difficult. I will not say the word difficult, it's more time consuming.
Yeah.
So the drum was.
So the drum is like a revolver barrel, essentially. That's where all the bolts are actually loaded. It's a magazine.
Mm-hmm. So and I had to make or fake the interior of the drum as well. So I had to use a procedural texture with some height map and some color to just give the illusion that is not only just black,
Okay.
but there is something inside.
And how close do you think you got to the model that we see here, the art that we see here?
I think it's very close to the final model. With the final model, I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess often it's going to be a bit of a collaboration, isn't it, between the 2D artist and
Yes.
you, because what the 2D artist sees might not actually be practical.
Yeah, there are always small issues, but the only thing that I realized, maybe it's from the top part, my crossbow is a little bit larger in a small area where we have the aim thing.
Mm-hmm. The sight,
so, yes. So it's a little bit bigger in my model, but just a little bit, not bigger, large.
Okay.
So
From on top it looks like an insect.
like a what?
An insect.
An insect. Oh,
Yeah.
insect. Yes.
I'm just going to check on the video.
Okay. So one of the things Lincoln did do to help you here is he actually took the engraved pieces and made them separately. Oh, excellent.
Helpful.
Looks like we've got our movie, so I'll just go and prepare that.
Okay.
Keep talking, Sergi.
Yeah.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure. No,
Yeah.
Not at all.
Where were we?
You can do that on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. Monday's good.
Monday's good.
Yeah. So what were you talking about?
We will talk about the texturing. We will see how I start from the beginning. I think I start with the back part of the crossbow, canister, gas canister, the pipes and things like that. What I usually do is I drop base material into substance, and then I start tweaking and maybe painting as well, depending on the model. For organic surface, I usually tend to paint myself because it's quite more difficult to find skin or something that you like. But for this case, I tend to use lots of smart materials in substance. Smart materials are just materials that are made for in a single piece with different layers. So you can just drag and drop and start building your custom ones from there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Casting and Meggle?
it's a mix of everything.
Right. So we are about ready to go.
Push the button.
Okay, complete silence as we wait for it to launch. And there we go. All right.
Who commentated at launching.
Yes.
Oh, look,
yeah.
it's launching. Look, it's still launching. It's not launched yet, but it's about to launch. And
Everything takes
it's going
time.
well.
So yes, first of all, what I did is just before texturing, I was working with the ambient occlusion map.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make some different corrections for the ambient occlusion. There are different pieces.
So explain what the ambient occlusion map actually does.
Ambient occlusion map, what it does is basically when the indirect light hits the surface, and you can see some parts not hidden, you can see some parts lit and others not.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the ambient occlusion determines what parts will be seen or not,
Yeah.
just with indirect lighting.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I do here is bake the occlusion map, so we can see the shadows and things that they are baked into the surface.
So one of the things we might use an ambient occlusion map for is to make sure the inside of a mouth is dark, for
Yes.
example, when a
Yeah.
player's talking, so that you're not.
That's one of the uses, yes, of course. And here I start with texturing with the layers. As I said to Margaret, I tend to use maybe or base materials or smart materials as my bases. So in this case, I use one smart material and start tweaking with the things I think they need to have, and start painting and tweaking and the general video will be.
But it's a nice piece of polished wood texture.
Yes, I start with this and start tweaking and all the process, making layers on top of the base one to make corrections, maybe for the colors or maybe for other channels like the roughness or metallic channels or whatever. In this case, not metallic because this is not a metal. So, but yes. So basically, all the time is going from one part to another and making this very same process using different HDRI's backgrounds to see how it reacts with lighting.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one because this is, as I think I previously said this, but I like this one because of the white lighting. I can see exactly the color of the surface, so there is not any tint or anything that could give me some troubles with the final result. I need a very white light condition for this. In one studio is a good example. So yes, I started with this part, and this is the roughness channel. I'll try to make some corrections to the roughness channel. Roughness channel is the one that determines the power surge message. You know.
Yep.
It's the roughness channel is the one that says how rough or glossy a surface is, and basically the micro surface information, and it tells you the story of the model
Yeah.
things like that, because it's a micro surface thing.
So you are going to see a lot of that surge on USB port
Yes.
message.
Yeah.
For anybody that has that, we worked out what you need to do is delete your hub controller, unplug all your USB devices, restart the machine, and then one by one plug your USB devices back in again.
And work
And-
fine. Yeah.
That seems to fix it.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. One of the days, I don't know if maybe this is the day or not, but one of the days I had like 6 or 7 freeze, so it was like
Yeah, really irritating, I imagine. Really
quite
frustrating.
difficult. Everything was rebooting, but yeah, we just fixed it. And
I like that wood, so in the roughness map, this wouldn't be terribly rough, would it? It's quite smooth and
yes, this is very
polished.
Yeah, exactly. This is very glossy base one, more or less the final one, I think, that has similar roughness values, but this was the first day. So what I did is put the metal base for the canister and the pipes. I use the ID maps because this is something I made previously. ID maps is the map, but it's with different colors, and and act like a mask. I can choose where to apply the material based on that map. So for example, for this part we have the metal part, the wood part, but with that map I can say, hey, that is metal, that is wood, just don't interfere one each other, so they are completely different. So yes, I'm using this alpha brush just to polish maybe some colors and dirt. I think this is a layer of dirt. I just was adding some dirtiness to just break the lighting a little bit more. This is the occlusion map. This is metal. No, this is, I don't know what is that. And yeah,
Yeah.
you can see the difference with some dirt and with no dirt. I'm trying to adjust the values, and
Because in reality, everything in the real world is actually imperfect and has some
Yes.
dirt, some blemish, some things. And it's one of the things that make 3D models look unrealistic when they're always spotlessly clean, perfectly shiny surfaces.
that's
Yeah.
so yes, it's I think this is important because breaking the light gives you a much better feeling about what you are seeing,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So exactly what you said, it's basically that. So here I'm playing with ambient occlusion just to darken a little bit more the areas below the canister, and putting more and more there. I usually just try to make some initial values, and then after, when I see all the whole model, then I decide if I have to tweak anything else or I have to. But I spent some time in this part because I wanted to make more details into the gas canister. For example, there is a little white plate with some numbers that I just stamp in there. It's original in the concept art as well. And I just add some more normal decals.
Okay.
Decals.
You might actually have to keep track of messages because I haven't got my phone on.
It's not actually doing all that well. So on my phone, it's actually completely frozen.
All right. Let me grab my phone.
But if you can just move that across, then I can actually see the thing is fine. If you can just move that out of the way, then I can see the messages there.
Can you read them though?
Yes, I can. Oh, that fucked it up. Oh, fucked it up again.
This
Oh,
is down to you.
Oh, really? Nice try.
Yes, I could have just gone and got my phone, but no. So if we did have messages there, we've now lost them, which was... I have to scroll back in the stream to see where they are. Actually, I think
blame
there's a
the
setting.
game the whole family can play.
I think there's a setting where you can actually see all the past ones when you log on. I'm sure that should be the default.
Here I'm moving to another part for the trigger, and this is a metallic part. We can see the the final UV map as well.
Okay.
And using Maya and substance.
So this was the UV map we had a look at in your last stream.
Yes, but this is the final layout. This is the ID map. The
Okay.
color things I set. This is the same for Crossbow
Yeah.
Joe and all the models. What I do is just I have to modify the ID map because depending on the needs in that moment. So this red color is only to highlight the model I have.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't.
Yes, that's not part of the texture. That's just to identify what part of the
Yes.
UV map, when you're having a look at the ID map, is
Mhm.
actually corresponds to that color.
Correct.
Yeah.
And yeah, here we can see that I just add a base material to play with that has some interesting values by default, and start tweaking, painting, and doing whatever I think I need to just make some corrections. But step by step we can see how the
Yeah,
crossbow
from back
is
to
working.
front, we can start to see the thing emerge.
So the thing is that the layer stack starts to grow. Look at the power surge again. This was the second day, maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the power surge starts.
Yeah, I imagine that was really frustrating.
Yeah.
The other frustrating thing, we had a Windows update just recently.
And there will be another one.
Yeah, each person that got the Windows update, their networking suddenly started failing. So,
I've
take-
avoided that
yeah.
update for weeks.
Well, I think they might have fixed it because Ben just updated again Friday and all was fine. But up until then,
The big update comes this week then. The big one. Spring creators update.
Oh, goody.
oh yes.
So it's coming this week.
So I don't think Margaret gets the creators update.
Oh, but
What a shame.
Yeah.
this is my first try with a plate and a number, but this is just the first try, and there is another one. I just wanted to start with this and see how it looked, like something relatively simple. So yeah, but at the end I didn't like this one, so I just deleted it and made another one.
Okay, so this is like a serial number on the thing.
Yes.
They're clearly not a one of a kind steampunk crossbow, but one of a series.
It's one of the batches.
yeah.
So what was it you didn't like about this once you'd actually played with it?
Because the original concept had a white plate in the middle of the canister,
Mm-hmm.
and first of all I just wanted to try with no white plate and see how it looked, but then I move on to the original one. I was just trying. It looks good, it looks nice, but I think that the other one that I add later is better. I think it's deleted now. Oh. It didn't last
Yeah.
too long.
No.
Here I'm using a normal map
Paperclip.
stamp. Yes.
Right. Yes. Normal map to put it raised.
Yes, it's just stamp for normal map, but this one is the old one as well. So because I'm using, I don't know why I put the number so there. So because the original is a little bit more centered. But yeah, I think I'm moving on to another thing, just putting more
Details.
details into the canister with normal map decals. It's decals or decals?
Decals.
Decals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's this word even.
So what is it in Spanish?
It's a nice question.
Yeah.
Stampa.
Oh, okay. So stamp.
Yes,
yeah.
it's a stamp. Yeah. So yeah, but I didn't like this one because it was touching to the edge, and you know that you are doing something, and you say no.
Yeah.
So yes, I just we will see that I move to the other side of the canister. Here we can see the again the UV map and the texture for the pixel resolution. As usual, yeah, ID map, because I maybe found something that I need to mask, then I use the UV map, the ID map to, yes, I will paint it. I'm using it as a regular mask, not as a ID mask.
What's the difference?
The ID mask provides me just a general form to mask things, but the bitmap mask just, how to say, I have in the layer stack I have a group, and in that group I have the ID maps. Inside those IDs I have the bitmap mask just for particular components. So it's more organizational thing. That
Okay.
you know, it's a mess because look at how many pieces this has.
Yeah.
It will be terrible to try to paint something that is hidden by another thing.
It's actually quite a complex model, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
I think probably
it's because of the
That's
hard
easy
surface itself. Hard surface hard surface is not difficult.
But there are lots of little pieces, aren't
Yes, that's it. A lot of little pieces, and all of them just put together in the most weirdest thing possible.
Have you seen the locomotive that?
Locomotive.
Yeah, so that the one that's in Lincoln's concept art. That's it's got the wheels on top. And
It's a
so we actually have the model of that that a guy called Darren Hurd made for us, and that's probably the most complex model we've ever done. But you should have a look at just some of the detail he managed to stuff into that locomotive.
I didn't know it.
That's quite a challenge. And that guy's not even a modeler primarily. He's he's actually a programmer, but no, I think he just he models for fun.
Took on the challenge. Why not?
But there was always difficulties in how you actually put the wheels on the rails when it's upside down. Because the rail, of course, has to pass between the wheel and the train.
It's quite difficult to match it. So yes, here more stamps to the model to make it like it has more resolution, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So you have a bunch of templates basically to choose from.
Yes,
that you can apply.
These are like pre-made normal maps, so I can use them as a stamp, like in here.
Yep.
So it's pretty handy. So you don't have to bake anything from high resolution mesh for depending what details you want to add. And in this case, it's pretty fast, and you can just change something.
Why are you doing it so often? Are you trying to get it lined up or something?
Yes, because of the position of the geometry. It's quite difficult to match the exact position that I want, so I have to switch between 3D view and 2D view, and just trying to match the back part with the front part of the canister. So yes, it's just a trial and error.
Yeah.
This is one of the bitmap masks, and yes, I think maybe here is the white plate or white sign.
Okay.
Or not, maybe not. No, I'm just trying more stamps to see if something likes me. No, this is still with the old one.
It's kind of fun to be able to change it so fast, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's something that I really love.
Yeah.
Because you can just
test it out.
If you forget something in the original model, you can always try to just do it in texture. Just wanted to add more details maybe, and using the 2D view sometimes is easier than using the 3D view.
So this is the 2D view here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so I can play with.
So why is it
colors.
easier?
Because you have the UV map in front of you, so you can see where all the pieces are put,
Yeah.
and you can go directly to the piece. It's like working. It's like some kind of Photoshop as well, because you are playing
Mhm.
with just a single texture.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
So so yeah.
So we've got essentially stamped. Do you end up keeping these things around the edge, those grooves? Because I can't remember them in the final model.
You mean the bevel thing?
Hmm.
Yeah. What was the question? Sorry.
I can't remember them in the final model. So did you end up keeping them, or are they?
Yes, they
Yeah.
have they still have the bevel. It goes for the final model because I really like how the light goes directly to the edge, and
Mhm.
using that kind of bevel always helps with different kind of surface. So yes, I wanted to use that technique for this model, and this here we can see the final model for texture for the sign or plate.
Okay.
So I put a white different material using a mask in here, using a normal stamp as well, and I will put some numbers in there because this is mask. This is already mask, so I can have only that part, so I can stamp whatever I want to stamp in there
Mhm.
without affecting the rest of the model. I mean, so yes, I will create another layer, and I remember I used a note from a country. I don't know what country is, but I used the note, the money,
Yeah.
the number, the serial number of that is the serial number for
Ah, right.
because it looked nice, so I just used that. Yeah, first I was trying only doing with some fonts directly from Substance, but
I like the product placement there. Substance.
suppose- I suppose what we could have done instead of a serial number is actually put something like the manufacturer's signature on there. Or
yeah. In the original concept, you can only see the white spot.
Yeah.
You can see exactly what is there. So I just thought that maybe some kind of model number or serial number or caution, or you know,
aim away from
Hot.
fate.
hot. Yeah.
Yes, aim away from face. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Brilliant. I'm sure somebody's tried to top themselves with a crossbow. They must have done.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that would not be easy at all.
No, but I'm sure it's been done.
Yeah,
Needs
maybe.
must.
Yeah, so here I'm just trying to put more bevel with height map.
Yeah.
And more small things. I was trying, but as I said, this in the concept was very ambiguous because it's a very small detail. So I just was trying to put something that made sense with the model and looked right.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at the same time I was doing this in the other monitor. I was seeing some references and the concept itself to see exactly how to match with the white color that Lincoln put in that
Mm-hmm.
canister. So yeah, there is a little bit of
It's amazing how much can be done like that, though, isn't it, without modelling?
yeah, substances.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
I'm impressed.
So are they rivets or something that's actually, or spots from some spot welding?
Now I am stamping the texture. This is this is the famous note I set. So I'm trying to just put in place, and then I put some more dust and things around that place. The canisters, no, not dust. Is like pellet or something like that, because of the stamp.
I'm thinking we should change it.
Oh wow!
Or we can.
I think the manufacturer's
Sergi,
signature
don't
just
listen.
seems more Victorian, don't you?
Yeah, this was
Crowley and Brothers or something like that on that
Yeah,
plate.
but you could have that as well. It could be engraved or something.
Mm.
It would still, unless it was a complete one-off, it would still have
Yeah.
a serial number.
In Victorian times?
Why not?
Oh, yeah, it was very industrial. They had lots of guns and things from factories. No? I don't know.
Well, we'll have to find out.
Okay.
I'm not going to wing it on there.
I think Sergi has been finding out. That's the point.
See, that was bluff. I heard it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't find out.
And this is that detail that I said.
It
that
looks
it's like,
good though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna do my Google thing and find out now.
Okay.
This is just to blend it with. I wanted to blend the canister with that sign, and then add that kind of, I don't know, rustiness or no, not rustiness. It's just
What would be a good name for a crossbow manufacturer?
I'm not very good at that sort of stuff.
Oh,
Duncan Brothers.
yeah.
Duncan Brothers.
They sound a little martial, like a little military. Maybe they'd be in it. You could use an actual manufacturer, I suppose. One that exists now.
We can use Acme.
Acme, yeah.
What's the name of the people? What's the people that make the shotguns? That starts with a B. Oh, actually, even better. There's another shotgun manufacturer that in the UK that provides shotguns for grouse hunting, all the rest of it.
Oh,
They're well known for it.
yes, I don't know.
Their name on that.
Let's see.
That would be quite good. So what are we looking up?
No, I'm checking to see whether antique firearms have serial numbers.
Okay.
And actually, I can't find out. But you mingle amongst yourselves, and I'll.
Yeah, we'll just carry on.
Yeah, cool,
You can make some interesting TV over there for yourself.
fantastic. Well, when you get interesting again, I'll start watching.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So
Okay, they're talking about Victoria, as in the state of Australia.
Ah.
There's a lot of guns in Victoria, apparently.
just ask the general question: when did serial numbers on weapons become a thing?
Become a thing.
Well, don't say that. Say when did we start using serial numbers on weapons? I've noticed Google's doing quite well lately at answering with a web page actual questions. Which I'm not sure if they're trying for or not. It's just one of those neat things that happens when you play with big data. So what are we doing now? We're doing the sights.
Yes, the sights has a slightly difference in color. It's basically, for me, it's the same material, but different color and maybe roughness information.
Mm-hmm.
So I just mask the sights as a different thing with the pressure vessel, and I just started to change the hue of that model a little bit. Hue and roughness information. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I just broke maybe those parts and make them different.
Okay. Okay. We can just see the little
That's when I say
rivets
that,
you applied to the.
yeah, that's when I say I use the ID map for all that part, but then I just start breaking with bitmap masks, so I can have more control about what I am doing. And yes, these are just some more details I do. But lots of things has been changed from here to the final model anyway. So as I say, this is the beginning, so I just put, I don't know.
Because it is an artistic pursuit, so it's not necessarily a procedure where you start with one thing and progressively build up. It's where you do a lot of iteration and changing.
One thing that works pretty well, not for this, well, for this model, I didn't do it for this model, but it's putting a base material for everything, so you can just start discriminating between metal, wood, and colors, but just in a very rough way to put it. But I didn't do it here. I just wanted to go straight to the point and just my idea for this one was working each part and make the details for each part individually.
Yeah.
As long as I was progressing. But I understand myself, so I know what I'm doing for myself. And maybe and that's the Glary telling me to upgrade.
What was telling you to upgrade?
It's the Glary utilities, just to clean things for the computer. It's a very nasty window because it appears and you cannot close it in some seconds. But it's a very good program, free program. But
it has issues.
Yes.
Yeah, certainly been irritated when they start pushing you around like that. So one thing, one of my big bitches is the computer.
One of your big bitches.
One of my big bitches is about the computer having priorities that are not my priorities and enforcing its priorities. So, you're on a laptop and you decide, I better run for that bus or whatever. And you go to turn it off and it says, no, doing a Windows update, do not shut down.
Why not?
So what the hell? I can't shut down, I'm going to miss my bus because I can't take my laptop with me.
That's so gangster.
My bitch.
You're my big bitches.
Gangster's paradise.
So you don't have an opinion on the actual thing that I actually said?
No, not really.
Just want to take the piss over my big bitches.
Fuck yeah.
One of my serious complaints about
I think that's the Windows Home that doesn't tell you to reboot when that it reboots by itself when it wants. But the Pro version, I think that it asks you to reboot or asks you to.
Oh man, that's blackmail almost. That's not good.
That's what?
That's blackmail almost, when you actually force people or screw things up for people, but they can pay to be not screwed up.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't make me feel good about their product.
But that's it, they want the money, so it's normal.
Yeah, it wasn't always normal. You know what else that Microsoft has never got right, and that is selection. When you try and select something, and you go a little bit, you try to get to the end of the letter, and the moment you get to the end of the letter, it suddenly selects a whole bunch more stuff that you didn't want. And, it is just the most difficult thing to actually do a basic thing like selection on Microsoft.
You could do it just a stream with your big bitches.
Yeah.
Big bitches, all of them.
Yeah.
I should. I have lots of bitches about technology stuff.
You have lots of bitches, yes you do. I'm not sure that it's really that positive, but you do have lots of bitches.
But I have to say that one thing that I really like about Windows from Windows 8.1 was about because I really like the hotkeys and things like that. So just pressing Windows key, writing the program and popping out the program, just enter, return, and you can go straight to the program.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast, and you don't have to go with the mouse and looking for the shortcut. It's Windows, boom, go in.
Yeah.
That's
Well, there are
that's
some
perfect.
good things. It's not all bitches.
No, not really.
Sometimes it's hose.
Hose?
No.
Oh, hose.
Uh,
Sorry. I'm thinking more along the lines of garden hose.
So yes, I'm
Wow.
painting some patterns that in the final model there is no pattern. So, but I was just trying to draw different patterns in here.
So, yes, and using symmetry to try and make
Yes,
it look...
to make it like beautiful.
Because that way you can draw any old rubbish, and as long as it's reflected, it looks okay.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What? Well, you can. Even I can draw things if you use symmetry.
Let's
Because
not
you can draw
imply that this
anything.
is any old rubbish.
Well, I didn't intend
That's
to do
the
that.
idea about this kind of pattern. So it's But because I was not following anything, I'm just putting some strokes in here and just adding some shadow, fake shadows. Not fake shadows. It's more just grunge and dirt and shit.
Yep.
All right, we have somebody has either made a comment or something.
Just a couple of emotes.
Who is it, and what are they doing? Saying
I said just a couple of emotes.
Right.
Murphy 23206. and two
Murphy
emotes.
23206. What do the emotes mean?
I don't know.
I wasn't asking you. Clearly, you know nothing. This is one of those things. So this is what I was mentioning with Jay yesterday. Is I keep seeing these emotes that actually pop up with faces. No idea what they mean. They're actual, people's actual faces. I understand some of the faces are actually from original Twitch employees that managed to get their faces associated with things, which is cool.
Twitch is cool.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Back to the stream.
Hey, you pulled us right off track there.
No, we're misfiring now.
I think I just left that pattern in there and just moving to another.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put.
Did you change it later?
Yes, I just removed it because this is something that you have in the game. You will see across that
Yeah.
hole. So
Well, that's what I'm thinking. You are looking at the back of the weapon all the time, so whatever you put there has either got to be non-distracting because you're actually trying to focus on
Yeah.
the sights, or it
That's-
has to be
that's what I
exquisite.
was thinking.
So
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking later. So I just realized that maybe the pattern in the front part is okay because it's just in the top. You don't see anything.
mm-hmm.
But for the side is okay. Just put some screws that I have, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, and here what I do is just getting some more contrast with different hues and color variations and things like that. This is hand painted a little bit, but as I said, for this model I just try to avoid just hand paint, just tweaking more materials or making my own materials in substance fashion.
Mm-hmm. It's got a sort of zinky, corroded zinky thing happening here.
Yes, I was trying maybe. Yes, it's just color variations and try to see if I like it. And I think at the same time I'm just playing with some in the interior part with a little bit more of ambient occlusion because that has to be almost pitch black. Because it's a part that in the concept it was not too clear to see what was going on inside.
Mm-hmm.
You only can see gold thing, something gold, but you don't know exactly what's that. So I just try to put different things inside there. First of all, there is one first try that I didn't like, I discarded, and then I moved to another thing, and there is one at the moment some kind of, I don't know the name. It's like wheels with spikes, not spikes, you know.
Spokes.
No, it's a mechanism for watches.
Cogs.
Like cogs.
What?
Cogs.
Cog.
It's the little wheels with
Okay.
the
Cog.
notches on it.
Okay.
Yes, not cogs.
Okay, the watches and the cogs.
Yeah, it pays to be careful.
But then I just tried to add the mechanism. It's easier to me. So don't confuse the audience when they switch the channel and you say, I just add the cogs.
Yeah, you want to be super clear about that.
Exactly. No,
Next.
Reported. So yes, now with the bevels, highlight bevels, things like that,
Carry on.
and power surge. This was the day that fucked everything up.
Fantastic.
Look
again.
look at it's continuously popping up. So I had to stop, maybe. There it is, and
And again.
it was horrible.
Ah. Oh God.
It was frustrating.
Yeah, I can well. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, that was the first mechanism. That was the first mechanism I wanted to add. So
Modern. It's fancy.
It might be a little overdone. Well, we'll see when it comes together.
no, yeah, but this is discarded anyway. So
Okay.
because it was too low resolution and didn't like the white, and even changing the color didn't like it because of the resolution. So I just discarded it later. It was too tiny. But I just try something different. And power surge is just popping up all the time.
So again, this is something that if we were just doing a game where it wasn't VR, we wouldn't do any of this detail
Nah.
to the sides because essentially you're never going to see it. You're looking at the back of the weapon.
But when
If you're lucky, you might turntable it, but not in a way that people are actually going to be able to get in close and inspect it.
no, but if
But
you're
in
using
VR,
touch
You can,
clamp,
you can turn it any which way you like, have a good look at everything,
exactly, you can
so
see
you get a chance to really appreciate it.
that the thing is the only thing in VR is that everything looks more fake than usual when you have the thing on your face, so everything looks more fake. So yeah.
Well, yeah,
go
you do have to be
carefully.
careful because some things can actually look something that just looks okay when you're.
The only thing in VR is that everything looks. That's me.
Yeah, sorry, we'll kill that. Kill the sound. Yeah. In VR, when you actually have the opportunity to inspect something up close, of course, that's when things can fall apart on you. So
You
Yeah.
can go too close. Oh, I think okay, it's fine. So yes, but as we can see, I'm just moving from back to front,
hmm
and that's what I was doing all the time. And then I deleted the mechanism, and I tried something else, something new that I didn't like either. So yes, I was trying different things because I didn't like the idea about having some kind of void in there.
Yep.
So just had to try different.
Now the interesting thing about the voids is I'm not sure what Lincoln was actually thinking of, but it strikes me that all these different voids and spaces and all the rest of it actually make for a much lighter weight crossbow than it otherwise might be. And I was just wondering if that was intentional in his head, if that was the way he was actually thinking of things.
It's possible, yeah. Well, at least here we have the gold color, that this gold color is in the final result, but not these lines. I tried to put some kind of strings or something like that, or a copper thing. I don't know. But no, I just deleted that. Didn't like it. But yeah, the gold one is in the final. Because that's originally in the concept.
So yeah, don't know. It looks more like a heating element than anything else.
Yes, yes, something like that. Some kind of pressure thing. Or, I don't know.
Okay, so back to these emotes.
Okay.
So, we're such rookies.
Yeah.
So, female Asian face can be used to refer to female gender in general, and that is a panic basket. Inspired by the phrase picnic, based on panic spammed into chat when a stream goes offline during broadcast.
Ah, right. Okay. Which we've had happen.
Indeed, I don't know what the two together mean, but there you go.
We had happen on Friday with Lincoln.
Yes,
We were streaming
but I don't know what it means here.
Jay, and all of a sudden Lincoln's machine blue screened. So we lost the the stream. The annoying part about that is because OBS doesn't finalise the stream, we actually lost the copy of that video on Twitch as well. So when we actually and also the local one that we record for putting on YouTube, so there is no way to actually recover that. So if you saw it live, that first part of that stream, good for you. If you didn't, you've missed it forever.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, not fuck you, sorry. I just made it, just misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, totally.
So now we've got alien writing on the side.
It's a serial number.
No, up on the little canister at the top.
Ah, yeah. I just put some
Alien lettering.
things, fantasy things, and it was 2 gold, so I just removed a little bit of gold.
Yep.
So I don't know. I just start putting writing something with no sense.
That says Swiss Yive.
Yeah, it says something magical, but as the world that it's based is completely magical and fantasy, steampunk but fantasy. Well, steampunk is fantasy.
No, it's not.
No, well, depending.
Yeah, steampunk is Victorian science fiction. That's my most succinct sort of thing about it. So it doesn't really have fantasy elements other than having the impossible in it.
The zombies, for example.
There's no...
Yeah.
There's generally not a lot of things like magical or magical creatures or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just try to,
Yeah.
put something different. And working with the first piece of metal for the top part, they are different. This one is different to the large one, so I had to use one base for this and another base for the other.
Yeah.
And I started drawing some lines to make that black lines that there are in that part, so I had to just draw it. We will see it. I think this is the layer I will use, this black layer. I just hide it with a black mask and start. No, this is for just dirt and grunge. So the next one, maybe.
So there's 2 pieces of metal actually overlaid on that top bit, aren't they?
Yes.
And those are the extra textures that Lincoln sort of gave you.
Yeah, this is the black mask I was saying, maybe that I just hide it and I changed my brush now, and I will start with symmetry. I will start painting those black bars that the concept has. It's some kind of space between the metal, so I just imitate it with this black color. It's not only color, it has some height information, so it goes down to give the feeling of
Embeddedness.
yes, yeah, something like that. think I will use the 2D window instead of 3D. Yes. So I start painting on top of this and try to seeing all the maps that are correct, and and just painting. That's the idea. Yep. Yeah. This is a little bit by hand because the position of the thing, I didn't use stamp in this case. I was just drawing
Yeah.
for myself, so I just had to be sure that the spaces are more or less correct. Here I'm making another mask maybe for this part.
Okay, we are getting close to the end. It's 1:56, so close to the end of the stream. So, is there anything particular you wanted to point out at this stage, Sergi, on challenges, difficulties?
For me, the only thing was the drum. So I was thinking that maybe the engravement, this part,
Engraving.
Engraving, yeah.
that would be the difficult, but didn't result too difficult. So it was easy. Was the drum the only?
Yeah.
Only one.
So this seems to be a sort of good place to really leave the stream. If I'm assuming the drum is next,
Yes.
essentially, once you've engraved the.
Exactly. This is the engraving for the large. This is the mask for the large part.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using this mask to isolate it from the original ID map, and then be able to stamp the image with some different channel information. And after this, I think that is the drum, the next one. But as I said, this is a different metal, so it's a little bit more greeny. So I had to change this base and make it different. So that's the reason why I'm doing another mask. And that's it. So painting and stamping.
We should 3D print this
Hmm.
and then string it. It's a who's
I'm
our
using
3D
particles here.
print friend? It's Carl, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm using particles here to make this kind of difference in colors.
Mhm.
This is a very interesting thing from Substance that can use some kind of particle system to paint things. And
Oh wow,
it gives more randomness to.
that's a bit advanced.
I think it's very interesting. So it's very subtle now, but you can see the particles floating around.
Yeah.
So it's another way to make things. So I think it's interesting.
What's the overhead in actually doing that when you come to use it?
No, it's just one moment for the particles to go around, paint it, and that's it.
Okay.
So I just wanted to break the green a little bit because it was too green and less white. So I wanted to have the base first, and then once I'm happy for both bases, I can stamp the texture on top.
Okay.
So that's the idea. That's the idea. That's something I said to Lincoln, that if he will be able to just isolate the engraving from the background,
Yeah.
because the background I don't need it because I use my materials for that.
Yeah.
I only need the pattern. It's the only thing I need. So he did it. He did it pretty well, and then I just took advantage of that and just used it as a stamp, and it worked pretty well as expected. So more particles here.
Cool.
Okay. Well, let's call it quits about there. I will go over to this window and pause that and take a note of the time. Something for 52 minutes there that we've gone in, and we'll pick that up tomorrow.
Mhm.
And it looks like we'll have to run overtime about 8 minutes tomorrow to actually finish this off. But yeah, so tomorrow you should be able to see the end result of texturing the crossbow. Crossbow is our famous silent weapon that we need for some of the challenges in After the Light. So join us tomorrow where we'll continue with this. The other thing I learned, and I'm making a really clumsy attempt to do this at the moment, is Jay said not to stop streaming too quickly because you get cut off at the point that the actual background thing is into. So if we can all wave and then see where the waving actually happens in the thing, we know where we can press the switch. Oh, screw that. There we go. Alright, bye for now.